You think you're in control. Think again, because what you believe is your choice may have never been yours to begin with. Think back. How many times have you been persuaded to do something without even realizing it? Was it truly your decision? Or did someone else quietly plant the seed and let you water it until it grew? If you believe you've always acted on your own will, you're living in a carefully crafted illusion. The harsh truth: the world is full of puppeteers. And if you're not pulling the strings, you're the one being pulled. But here's what separates the ones in power from the ones being played. True controllers never command. They don't bark orders or push loudly. They guide silently, invisibly. They make others act exactly as they wish, without raising suspicion. That's real manipulation, not loud, not obvious. A whisper instead of a shout. An emotion carefully placed, not an instruction barked. And here's the chilling part. You've already experienced this. Think back to the last time you changed your mind without knowing why. Was it really a change of heart? Or was it a comment, carefully crafted, a gesture precisely timed? That is power. Influence without detection. Now let me flip the game. What if you were the one pulling the strings? What if, instead of being moved, you became the one moving the pieces? Because the difference between the winners and the pawns is crystal clear. The winners induce action. They don't impose it. We've been taught the wrong playbook. We've been told influence means speaking louder, acting tougher, imposing our will like a hammer. But those who really move the world, they don't shout. They don't demand. They don't even argue. They don't need to. True strategists make others follow them, thinking it was their own idea all along. No one taught you this. But manipulation isn't about brute force. It's not about winning debates or forcing submission. It's a subtle art, a psychological waltz. You lead without being seen. You guide without being noticed. Want to learn how? Step 1. Target the right people. You can't manipulate everyone. Only those who matter. The impressionable ones. The ones quietly desperate for guidance, but too proud to admit it. Step 2. Make them believe it was their idea. People resist commands, but they love their own ideas. If you want someone to act, don't tell them. Suggest. Implant a thought here. Drop a hint there. Let them connect the dots. Do this right, and they'll fight for your plan as if it were theirs. Step 3. Fragment the opposition. The greatest threat to control isn't direct resistance. It's organized resistance. If people unite against you, you lose power. But if you plant doubt, spark division, turn them against each other, they crumble. You win. Divide, conquer, command. But that's still just the surface. If you want to truly control, you must go deeper, because logic moves thoughts, but emotion moves action. No one makes decisions based on reason alone. People act because they feel something: fear, desire, insecurity, pride. Tap into those, and the game is yours. Everyone is driven by something. Find that emotional driver, and you hold the key to their actions. Don't tell people what to do. Make them feel like they must do it. That's how control works at the deepest level. But now, we step into dangerous territory, because this kind of influence comes with a price. Manipulating minds has consequences. If they discover you, you become the enemy. If you misuse this power, someone will eventually learn your game and turn it against you. Control is a weapon, and like all weapons, it can turn in your hands. History is full of brilliant tacticians who thought they were untouchable until someone played the game better. So the real question is not, can you manipulate others? The real question is, are you willing to accept the consequences? Because once you cross that line, there is no turning back. Now you understand, power isn't about shouting. It's not about commands. It's about guidance. Subtle, invisible, effective. It's about making others speak for you, believe for you, act on your behalf, while thinking they're doing it for themselves. And here's the brutal paradox. The less control you seem to have, the more control you truly hold. This world isn't ruled by the loudest voices. It's ruled by those who pull the strings, in silence. So the question stands, will you remain a puppet? Or will you learn to handle the strings? But even this is just the surface. If you want to truly master influence, you must go beyond tactics. You must understand what most people never do. People don't follow ideas. They follow emotions. Think of any great movement, any leader who changed history. Did they win hearts with flawless logics, with bulletproof data? They stirred emotion. They painted visions. They made people feel something profound. Because once emotion enters the stage, logic exits. You've seen it. People defend beliefs they don't even understand. They fight for ideas they've never questioned. Why? Because those beliefs are tied to their identity, to who they are, to where they belong. And this is the secret. If you want real influence, make your idea a part of their identity. People can change their minds, but they don't change their identity without a fight. No one wants to admit they've been wrong their entire life. But if you can plant your idea so deeply that it becomes part of who they are, they'll defend it to the death. Not because you asked them to, but because protecting the idea means protecting their existence. This is not persuasion. This is programming. It's not about convincing. It's about implanting, inserting thoughts into the subconscious without ever appearing to do so. To do this, you need 3 elements: exposure, repetition, emotional connection. First, exposure. You can't shatter someone's mindset in a single blow. Resistance is automatic. But if you introduce the idea gradually, indirectly, and without pressure, the mind lowers its guard. The unfamiliar is rejected, but what's seen often becomes comfortable. Second, repetition. A lie told 1,000 times becomes the truth. Not because it's real, but because the mind confuses familiarity with certainty. What we hear again and again feels true simply because we've heard it before. That's why master influencers never say something once. They say it in different ways, at different times, through different voices, until it becomes embedded in the target's mind. Third, emotional connection. It's not enough to explain an idea. People must feel it. The human brain responds far more to emotion than to fact. If you can link your idea to a deep emotion, fear, desire, pride, nostalgia, that idea becomes unforgettable. But here's where it gets even darker. Most people genuinely believe they make rational choices. They believe they think independently, that their opinions are their own. But the truth, most people think they're making their own choices. But the truth is, their decisions were made for them long before they ever realized it. Society has designed their desires. Their past experiences have shaped their instincts. Their biology pre-programs how they react. And if you understand those patterns, you can predict how someone will act before they even know it themselves. Take this for example. Did you know people trust the ones who listen to them more than the ones who speak? not because the listener has better insights, but because the simple act of being heard creates a deep emotional bond. If you want influence, make them talk about themselves. Most people are desperate to feel seen, to feel understood, to feel validated. Give them that. And they'll see you as someone they trust, even without knowing why. Another pattern: fear beats reward. People are more afraid of losing than they are motivated by gaining. If you want someone to act, don't tempt them with promises of success. Warn them of what they'll miss if they don't act. Loss is louder than gain. And there's one more truth: exclusivity attracts. When something seems available to everyone, its value drops. But if you make someone feel like they've been given access to something rare, an idea few understand, they'll cling to it because it makes them feel special. Chosen. Now let's talk about the greatest threat to influence: organized opposition. Nothing dismantles control faster than a group of people standing together. History proves this. Rebellions, revolutions, revolts. They only succeed when people unite under a common cause. So how do you stop them? Divide them before they move. You don't need to destroy a group. Just introduce conflict, make them question each other, turn leaders against one another, create power struggles, plant seeds of doubt. Once trust breaks, unity dissolves, and a divided crowd is no threat at all. Politicians know this. Governments have perfected it. Why do you think ideologies are always at war? Because when people fight each other, they never unite to challenge those who actually hold power. But now, we arrive at the final dilemma: the cost of manipulation. Everything you've read so far sounds powerful, and it is. But there's something no one ever tells you. When you learn how to manipulate minds, you can no longer see the world the same way. You stop believing in authenticity. You begin to distrust everything. Because once you learn to pull the strings, you begin to see the strings everywhere. And suddenly, the magic is gone. You look at relationships and wonder, do they really care for me? Or are they just responding to a framework I created? You realize that many emotions, many connections, many beliefs, they weren't genuine. They were engineered by you or by someone else. And that leads us to the greatest paradox. When you learn to control, you also learn that absolute control is a myth. Even if you master every tactic, even if you bend people to your will, there's still one wild variable you can never command: human chaos. A single moment of emotion, a personal awakening, a crisis, a dream, a memory, can undo everything. So the real question isn't, can you manipulate? It's this: are you ready for what comes after? How far are you willing to go? How much control is enough? And will you, like so many before you, fall into the same trap, believing you're invincible until you become the next puppeteer, hung by your own strings? So now, only one question remains. Do you want to truly understand influence, or would you rather keep pretending that no one has ever manipulated you?